Hello, my name's Dave, and in this video I'm going to show you an issue I found about, well, it took me a long time to figure it out, some scope probes. And so I want to, because no one's talking about this, I tried to Google this problem and I couldn't find the problem on Google or YouTube, and I know this is a common problem. So I want to share this video with people buying scope probes. Now, let me discuss this black probe first. This came with this the scope. Okay, I brought a Hantek scope from eBay, and it's the Hantek 2072, and it came with, I think, one probe, and it was the black one. It's the black probe, and this instrument was. I don't really want to talk about the instrument too much, but it had a really funny problem, like really issues with I knew something was wrong with it, with I think the channels and everything. It was just kind of weird how the amplitude was and stuff. So I found the problem was I just had to reload the firmware and update it. And actually, in the process of updating it, it looked like I got the higher version instead of the 2072. I think I got the 2082 version, and all my problems were over. So it was a firmware glitch, probably bad data. So if any of you have that problem, you might want to try to do that too. I was almost gonna, I was checking if anyone else had that problem. That I forget what the problem was. It was something to do with the amplitudes. I think they were just noisy or just weird. And so sometimes update your firmware. Okay, so now we'll move that away, and I'll talk about the scope. Okay, so I came with this scope probe, and this is another probe I bought, and we'll get into that in a bit. But for a long time, I had a lot of intermittent problems, and I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. I thought, well, maybe it's the scope probe ground or the connection, the solder joint in here. And then I also want to mention I bought these breadboards, and the you've probably seen this green one on eBay. I do not recommend this board, by the way. You can see this is the main. These sockets are the original ones. I changed these ones. These aren't even the best ones, actually. I just changed them with something a little better. I thought I was having tons of intermittence, and I believe I was. So I don't recommend this board. It's a lower cost board. Sure, it'll save you money, but it'll probably give you a lot of problems. So I did a little bit of Googling around to see if there's differences on boards and stuff like that. And sure enough, yeah, there's differences, and these are lower cost boards and lower quality. And when you're building prototypes, you just, you don't really want the aggravation of all these intermittents and stuff. So what I found on my Google search was this board here. It's made by EIC. It's a Taiwan company that makes it. And the contacts they're pretty good. From the website I was looking at, they rate these really high. The way the contacts are made and the materials the contacts are made. So spend a bit more money, get a proper board. These are going to cost you more. They're on eBay too, but you know what, you want to eliminate the intermittence and all that stuff. And some stuff I do with RF and stuff, sometimes that can be an issue too, but the boards can be a very big problem too, just with anything. So now I'm trying to zoom in on this one. Okay, this is another one that might be okay. I haven't done extensive testing on it. It's made by a company called breadboard.com, so you can Google that. They have a web page, and you can buy these boards. These might be the same basic quality as the one I just showed you. So these probably are pretty good quality. I think it's bronze phosphorus contacts, and it's the way they make the contacts too that helps. So you might want to get a few of these. I got them from Mauser Electronics. I think it's just Mauser.com. You can check it if you're in Canada, Mauser.ca, or some other countries they might have Mauser. Okay, so those I recommend. Now, the reason I point out the breadboards is because for a long time I thought my breadboards were the main issue, and I believe some of the breadboards are an issue too. So it's not just a scope problem, it's a breadboard problem. So what I found, it took me a few years I actually found it. So I finally figured out, I got to find out what's going on with these probes. So I just dug in a bit deeper. And what I'll tell you, okay, almost with all these probes, now this one here, it was one I bought on eBay. And you've probably seen this one before if you're looking for a cheap probe. You don't want to spend a lot of money. I think they're rated at 100 megs. It's the P6100. And there's probably a lot of other ones, like, different versions, different bandwidths. But this is a pretty popular one. I'm going to tell you what the problem is. There's very high level of intermittence on these things, and it drives you absolutely bananas. So you're thinking it's your board, you're thinking it's your circuit, you're thinking it's this. And here's the real problem, where I found this tip here. Okay, when you put this on, this is going to mess you up. It's going to give you all kinds of intermittence. And it doesn't matter if it's this probe or this probe or probably a lot of the other cheap ones. So get yourself a good quality probe by a brand name manufacturer. I never used to have this problem, but I sold a lot of my electronics before, so now I'm starting to rebuild. And a lot of this stuff is just low cost, and man, it's driving me nuts. So what I found, what I could do to temporarily remedy this problem is I'd use a little X-Acto knife. And I would scrape around just scrape a little off that. Maybe there's some oxidation or something, and put it back in. It usually would work for a little while, maybe a day, but it wouldn't last that long. Then I would do it again, and it would work again for a while. And then, it just doesn't have any holding power. It seems like it'll last for a little while, and then it's back to being intermittent again. And it's the same thing with the probe that I got with the Hantek scope. Same thing, probably same basic quality. It's these ends. You put them on. They're hugely intermittent, and they'll drive you bananas. You'll wonder where the problem is. You'll think it's your circuit. You'll think it's something else. And these are huge problems. So what I did, and I could recommend you to maybe try to do that if you're on a tight budget and you don't want to get a good probe, is I just sort of wound that around, but I wound it around the tip. I just took some wire, skinned it off, wound it around that little tip, and I just, you can just use the wire short. You don't have to coil it around like I did here. But I just plug this into my breadboard or something for testing now, and I have no problems with this. So I'm telling you because no one has talked about this that I've seen on the website or on the internet, and I just want to share that because these will drive you nuts. So don't try to save too much money and get a real crappy probe. Like they'll work, but I'm sure you're going to have the same thing, because I have this with all my probes. I think I have about 4 probes, and they're all sort of doing the same thing now. Maybe they don't do it right immediately when you buy them, but after a little while, you're going to have some big headaches, and you're going to be wondering, oh, what's going on with this? And so that's my tip for you. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you got some benefit out of it. Don't buy crappy probes. Get some brand name probes. You're going to spend more. You're going to have less headache. And same thing with the breadboards. Okay? Take care. Bye now.